Good morning, madzuka banji nonse kumene muli. Yayi awa ndithu ndi Jane Mathanga amene ndithu ndi nduna ya nduna tinene kuti nduna ya zachilengedwe natural resources, Ministry of Natural Resources komanso Energy and Mining. Ndithu zinthu zachilengedwe zija komanso nkhani za magetsi maso nkhani zamafuta yowa ndiye nduna yake. Tsopano apa akufuna alongosole tsopano kuti mavuto amene alipowa akuyenda bwanji nanganso akuthana nawo bwanji. Interview yonse ndithu idali mchizungu mchingerezi komano ndiyesa kuti sikuti chingerezi chake nchicha choti munthu osamva chija hayi komabe mungo tambasula pang'ono ndi zonena kuti iwowa akuti mavuto a mafuta anakumana ndi mavuto okwana atatu. So alongosola amenemo zokhudzana ndi ma neighboring countries, maiko amene ali neighbor amene akuonanso kuti mafuta athu ali bwino akuchipirapo komanso alongosola nkhani yokhudzana ndi matraki anayima ku Tanzania. Tinaonanso alaitu namangoja anali ku Tanzania akuona mafuta akukanika kudutsa ndi akulongosola kuti koma pali hope yayikulu kwambiri. Pali chiyembekezo kuti amene wanithu mafuta awa akutulukira ndithu akubwera ndithu mavuto amene atha ndithu ndalongosola even zamagetsi nde aita asirano wake wa Jane Mathanga azilongosole zonse kuti akuti zikuyenda bwanji. Guys, thank you so much. Malawi and cameras.
What we're doing is we're looking at, first and foremost, stabilizing the sector. So what we want to do is to look at where we're coming from. So the problem at hand, as a way of background, the problem at hand emanates from governance issues. The main one being depleting of forex reserves. So as such, allocation of forex to fuel importers hasn't been coming as it should. As a result, a number of our importers are supplying the fuel, but not as much as they should. So the supply is not as much as we want because they're not getting the money for what they're selling us. And at the same time, we're looking at, because of that, there was no choice for the country, I should say. I think there was now drawing of fuel from our strategic fuel reserves. So as of July 2024, that's last year, our strategic fuel reserves were depleted. Okay, so what that resulted into was as a country receiving fuel and sending directly to the fuel pumps for consumption. So we've been living hand to mouth, nothing as a buffer. So that's what has been happening. And the third thing is that we are looking at the pricing, our tariffs. Our fuels are sold at a lower price than what is prevailing in the neighboring countries around us. As a result, I think the fuel appetite in the country has gone up. Significantly, surprisingly. So don't think there's been a lot of vehicles being bought, but I think we're getting more people buying the fuel. And now we're saying, where is this fuel going? The fuel is obviously going to our neighboring countries because our fuel is cheaper than what is in the neighboring countries. So we are faced with those three problems. And the situation got worse 2 weeks ago when there was unrest in Tanzania resulting from the unrest after the elections in Tanzania. So what that meant was that we had imported fuel, all right, and our fuel was stuck in Tanzania. So we had trucks in Tanzania, they couldn't move to the border. Then we had fuel again on the high seas, they couldn't get to the ports to offload. So because of that, we were stuck. And back home, there was nothing in our reserves. Therefore, we are stuck. That's why this issue, the problems have been going on for almost 3 weeks now, because we're trying now to normalize. So what that meant was that we're just relying on fuels coming from Mozambique, from the port of Nacala and Beira. So what you should know is that there is congestion at these ports in Mozambique, both at Beira and Nacala. This is as a result of the growing economies in neighboring countries, Zambia, Zimbabwe, of course, yeah. So because of that, there's also, a lot of economic activities going on in those countries, and that has resulted into demand for fuels. So there's congestion at the ports. So that has also affected the coming in of fuel. We've tried to engage our counterparts in Mozambique to prioritize loadings for our country, looking at the situation that we are in. So in short, I can say that that's what it is on fuels.
All right, and now, Minister, if I got you right, you did say that our fuel here is relatively lower than in other countries surrounding us.
Yes.
Are you trying to say then, we did experience an increase in the fuel prices? Are you telling us here that we should expect a fuel increase?
Yes, we're not yet there,
future?
For sure. We're not yet there.
At what percentage?
Let me get back to you, because what we are looking at is to have a gradual increase, because we're also cognizant of the fact that we shouldn't affect the consumer out there. An innocent consumer, we shouldn't just lump that large increase. So we are discussing with our the regulator, MERA, so we want to come up with a proper increase mechanism so that we don't affect the Malawian out here.
Now, having explained whatever you have explained, when should we expect the fuel situation to completely stabilize with all the factors?
For now, this should stabilize in the short term. At least by next week, we should be done. But I don't know whether you listened to my ministerial statement in Parliament. I assured the nation we should stabilize. I can comfortably say that where diesel is concerned, we are good. Where we're still struggling a little bit, it's on petrol. But I'm sure by this coming Sunday, we should be done, because we've still got lots of trucks coming in. As of yesterday, I had almost 120 trucks loading from the ports in Tanzania. So we're still receiving lots, and the inflows are still coming. So I should assure the nation that by next week we should be fine with all the fuels. But this is in the short term. We are also aggressively engaging, because I think one of the challenges that I mentioned is the forex issue. So we are also engaging the Reserve Bank, aggressively Reserve Bank and Minister of Finance, asking them to prioritize payments to fuel importers so that there shouldn't be any gap. But as of now, we've got fuels that are already paid for, but we have just made another payment yesterday. We are assured that we should get these trucks coming in without any break.
Now, we also mentioned that some of the fuel that our fuel is finding its way outside.
Yes.
What measures are you putting in place to actually ensure that this fuel is ours and doesn't exit through the borders?
The best and sure way is to make sure that our pricing is in line with what is prevailing in the neighboring countries. Because once that is done, no one will see no need for them to get our fuel, because they'll have no market. So the first thing that we need to do is to cut the market for those that are getting our fuels out. But of course, in the short term, we have engaged our security agents, the police and the army. By the way, we've got a task force that comprises the police, the army, the national intelligence security. So we have just reminded them to go out and make sure that they police our bordering districts, because that's where the fuels are finding their way out. But of course, we have taught them to still do some checks in town, because we have just picked that there are even a few motorists that are fueling just to drain the fuel and come back and refuel. So we have asked them to do that and check around.
Now, Honourable Minister, one of the sticky issues has been that of the government-to-government deal, which we are well aware that this government has said it's exited that arrangement.
Yes.
Tell us more about it, and what is the next step forward?
Yes, there was a presidential pronouncement, and that's a policy. We need to migrate. We need to move from that system of procurement to an open tender. And of course, one doesn't need to be told, you and me, something that is open, obviously, there's integrity in there, there's efficiency in there. So what we are doing that, and we are going to implement that. But of course, the G2G procurement system, of course, there is an act that was backing it. So we have since written the Minister of Justice for an amendment of that act, so that we are now able to use a different system. You know, in an open tender, you know, everything is transparent. There's transparency in there. Then you get value for your money. Let people compete. You get the best offer. Then you go for that. And this transparency, that's what is key. But now with G2G, yes, you may not know what negotiations that as a minister would go into, or as NOGOMA would go into. Is this the best for the country? So there are so many challenges with G2G, but the best for any economy are transparent systems. So we are going for the transparent system, which is an open tender, and we have already started working towards that. As it is now, we are just we are allowing the suppliers that were there at least to fill the gap. But going forward, we are going to engage into the next phase of procurement using an open tender.
You're watching MBC Exclusive. Our guest this week is Dr. Jean Mathanga, Minister of Natural Resources, Energy and Mining. When we return, we'll be looking at issues of electricity and, of course, the mining sector. We'll be back shortly after this break. Honourable Minister, we've seen that there's a lot of load shedding taking place in the country. Perhaps what is the cause of this load shedding?
Yeah, what I can say is that our demand, as it stands now, is more than our generation capacity. We are currently, our installed capacity is at 551 megawatts. But what is available to customers now is about 340 plus. So this means that we are demanding more than what we are supplying. So even the 551 which is installed is not even enough. We need more than 551. So to make matters worse, we don't have all that 340 megawatts which is available, readily available, I should say, because we do have other machines that are off the grid. As we speak, we've got about 31 megawatts from Tedzani 3 power plant. This is off the grid. The 31 megawatts is off the grid now. It's because of 40 machines at Tedzani 3. We have not been able to maintain those for almost a year because the faults occurred last year in December. So we've had the 31 megawatts off the grid, and that's a lot of power. So we have not been able to fix the faults because of lack of forex. We're not able to purchase spares for that. But of course, as it is now, I'm glad to say that we found the forex. The spare parts were bought, they were purchased, and they should be jetting into in the country this month end. Our plan is come December we should get the 1 megawatts back onto the grid, so that would be an addition. So to answer your question, yes, we've got those power cuts. One, because we're supplying less than demand, and that is resulting from 40 machines, and of course the generation is lower than what is required, and this is also a period of processing for other sectors like tobacco sector, processing tea sector, processing. So they also require lots of power. So we are all fighting for the little that we are supplying. And thirdly, it's because we are also doing some maintenance works. You may recall that I think for most a month in September, August, September, we didn't have much power cuts. That was because there was an order to say don't switch off any machines. But that resulted to us accumulating the work that we're supposed to have done. So we have decided to make sure that we carry out some maintenance works in readiness for the rainy season. So as a result, they cannot do any maintenance works without taking down some lines. So that is happening. And it's even worse in the northern region, because in the northern region we've only got one transmission line that goes into the north. So it means that each time that that line is taken off for maintenance works, it means the whole north is in darkness. So yeah, those are the reasons why we do have these, load sheddings and power cuts almost on a daily basis. We are aggressively trying to maintain in readiness for the rainy season. But of course, bearing in mind that what we have is less than our demand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, Honourable Minister, I know that we also have an agreement with the Mozambican government, the Malawi-Mozambique project. Where are we with that, and when should we start benefiting as a country from there, where now we are in a situation where we've got less power that is being produced in this country?
Yes, we're expecting to be getting 50 megawatt from the Mozambique interconnector. Come this February, that's when we're going to have that 50 megawatt. But of course, in addition to that, we are also getting 10 megawatt from solar power in Salima, then another 10 megawatt from biomass from Chikangawa. Riply are also generating that, so that is also going onto the grid. So we are talking about 70 or 80 additional megawatts by February. So that is also going to help.
Meaning that for now, we're still in the woods.
Yes and yes, I should say so, but not much, because if you can see the 10 megawatt, the 20 megawatts are already ready. They're already here. The 10 megawatt from solar from Salima is coming in, is already here. The 10 megawatt from Chikangawa has already been pushed onto our grid, and we are fixing the 31 megawatt from Tedzani, so that is coming just this next month. We should have that 31 megawatt on, and we're also aggressively asking the Reserve Bank to pay for our spare parts. We've got other gensets that are also off the that are also not fixed. This has happened also because of the forex issues, but once we get these gensets back on, they also help in picking up in peak hours. They also assist so that we are reducing the load shedding.
All right, now,
Yes.
Honourable Minister, away from the issue of electricity, let's talk a little about the mining sector, which is also part of your ministry.
Yes.
We did see the President issuing an executive order banning the exportation of minerals from this country.
Yes.
Perhaps just take us into the executive order and what your ministry is doing to ensure that our precious minerals do not exit the borders.
Yes, we are, as a ministry, implementing that executive order, and we've already sat with Mamigo, which is our Malawi mining company, and of course Malawi Mining Regulatory Authority. We have sat, and of course the Home Ministry, the mining department, to come up with plans on how to implement that. So that message is already gone to all players in this sector, that we need to adhere to the directive. And I must say that this is what the country needs. We've got a lot of mineral deposits in this country, but as a country we've not been benefiting.
Now, Honourable Minister, I do understand the issues of climate change are also under your ministry.
Yes.
I would want to hear what you have lined up on issues to do with climate change. But also, I understand that the COP30 is underway in Brazil. What issues did the representatives of Malawi take to COP30?
As a ministry, we are making sure that we give attention to issues of climate change. I think no one needs to be told the impact of climate change. I think as a country, we've already started experiencing some of the adverse effects of climate change. We never used to have cyclones, but now, as a country, we've faced a number of experienced a number of cyclones. So this is just the beginning of things. These are the effects of climate change. So it's time that as a country we need to stand up and make sure that we correct things so that we stop this. The cyclones should not come here to stay. We should correct these things. So there are a number of projects or products that we have taken to COP30. to sell to donors or partners that can come in and to join us. So I've got about 26 projects that we have taken to COP30 in an effort to partner with some people out there that are ready to come in and invest in the country on climate change. So you're talking of projects to do with afforestation. We need to make sure that we put much effort on afforestation, management of our water sources. That's very important, because if we manage water sources, we're assured also of good food production. And of course, we're talking of generation of power. As a country, we are relying on about 96% of our electricity is generated from it's hydro. I should say it's hydro generated. As a result, we're depending on rivers. So we have to make sure that we manage our water sources seriously. So we're also looking at issues to do with waste management. So we've got about 26 of them, as I said, and we are hopeful that we should get people coming in to join us in this effort. And I think you have recently heard of the carbon credits. People are giving attention to this. I think it's a global thing now. So we, as a country, we have allowed a few investors. We have given them land to start planting trees, so that we start benefiting from that initiative.
Finally, what is your word to Malawians? Issues to do with electricity. We've spoken about a lot, but what can you say? Your parting words. My parting words on electricity is that as your ministry, we are committed to making sure that we deliver on our mandate. And as I mentioned, that what we are producing as a country is not enough to meet our demand, but we'll make sure that we engage all avenues. We get all sources of power that we can get to add on to the grid. So I'm very hopeful that with all the initiatives that are there, by come February next year, we should have about 600 megawatts on the grid. And of course, in 2 years' time, that will be another addition of 300. Now, going to fuel, I must say, I feel for the country. I feel for the citizens. What is happening is not good. You find people queuing up on fuel pumps for long hours. This shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be the case. But I think I've shared with you the reasons why we're here now, but we are trying all we can to make sure that we bring in as much fuel or as many trucks as possible, so that this issue should end quickly. And I'm sure that come next week, Monday or Tuesday, this should be over. Because as it is now, I can comfortably say that where diesel supply is concerned, we are fine, because you don't have to queue for diesel. But I think what is still remaining is the supply of petrol. But we've still got lots of trucks that are coming in. As of yesterday, we had about 120 trucks loaded in Tanzania. So I'm pretty sure that come Monday, Tuesday, these queues will no longer be there. And I just want to assure Malawians that we'll be here to make sure that the flow of fuel continues, and there shouldn't be any gaps in between. Dr. Jean Mathanga, thank you so much for joining us in MBC Exclusive.